How do you live like this?
Let's just say when it's just Colin and I here, I'm wearing a lot less layers.
Hi everybody, welcome to BC is Creepy.
I'm Ariel Hansen.
And I'm Topher Graham.
And today is an Ariel episode.
You're gonna teach us about something cool, right?
Yeah. So today we are going to be discussing a murder.
My favorites.
That didn't happen in Vancouver or the island.
Cool.
Yeah, we're branching out.
A little bit.
Northwards, you might say.
How north?
So the town that this happened near was called Clearwater, which is southeast of Prince George, but north and slightly to the east of Kamloops.
Oh, okay.
So it's between those two.
Deep in the interior.
Yep, yeah. Closer to Alberta than to the coast.
For those of you who don't know, Alberta is my home province.
Yeah, so...
So we're getting a little closer to home.
Except, will you ever be able to tell a hometown story?
Maybe.
Maybe if we run out of BC topics,
Yeah.
we might need to.
If BC stops being creepy, we can go be creepy in Alberta.
Yeah, there we go. Now, oh my gosh, why again?
Ariel put down her beer and it just started flooding all over the place.
Yeah, it was very inappropriate looking. Can you grab those tea towels from that basket?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, and it's just a waste of beer too. Those are what I need. Alcohol abuse?
Yeah.
How am I abusing alcohol?
By throwing it on the ground.
I'm not throwing it, it just keeps foaming up.
Resident bartender Ariel Hansen, everybody.
Oh, I should have just poured it into a glass. Oh well.
You just have to leave a little bit of space when drinking it.
A little bit of space for what?
For air to get in.
What do you mean?
Continue with your story,
Okay.
please.
I just need to finish cleaning this up. Okay, so our story starts on August 2nd, 1982, when a family was going to go off on a camping trip. It was supposed to be for 2 weeks. It was 6 people, so there was the grandparents, George and Edith Bentley.
Yeah.
Parents, Jackie and Bob Johnson.
Yeah.
And then 2 kids, Karen, who was 11, and Janet, who was 13.
Are they local to the town they're
Yes.
going to or coming in?
Yeah, I think they're from the area. And what occurred takes place in a park that's north of the town of Clearwater. So they were, going camping for the weekend. They were familiar with the area. Or not for the weekend, for weeks. But it was an area that they knew. So they went for a 2-week camping trip. But 3 weeks after they left, when Bob didn't show up for work, they reported him missing to the police. Yeah, so there were a lot of people who thought that, maybe they were lost.
Yeah.
They could have run away to join a cult or joined a commune.
Well...
Yeah.
None of those sound very satisfying.
Or likely. So this is when Detective Mike Eastham got a call that he was going to be on this case. He was with the RCMP. And he didn't know it at the time, but it turned out that this was going to be the most expensive investigation in Canadian history up until that point.
Oh, gosh.
So we've probably had more expensive investigations since then.
But what are we looking at?
I didn't get a number, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, no, they just said it's the most expensive.
That means we're doing, hunts, manpower, going around with, people and combing the areas and forensics.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just staring at my beer to make sure it didn't do that thing again. But yeah, so on September 13th, it was in the forest of Wells Gray Provincial Park.
Yeah.
And this was a month after the family was supposed to have returned home from their trip.
Oh, jeez.
A mushroom picker found the Johnsons' burnt-out car with the body inside. And there were lots of bone fragments that were obviously human, and they were either from 1 or 2 bodies, and it was in the back seat.
Oh, no.
It keeps getting better.
Got a family missing and only 2 bodies.
Until they open the trunk.
Oh.
So the detective takes a crowbar and he flicks that trunk open, and inside the trunk they found the skeletons of 2 children.
No.
So that's the 2 little girls. And at this point, of course, they don't know who the 2 bodies are, whether it's the grandparents or the parents.
Okay.
So it's still a missing person as well as
Murder
now. And also there was definitely an accelerant used in setting this car on fire to create the intense amount of heat that burned it.
Well, it's to get rid of forensic evidence, right?
Exactly. Although they were able to tell, even with like the car being burned out and everything, that people had been shot from the bone fragments. Now, I already sort of gave us a little geography lesson. So this park is north of Clearwater, which is north of Kamloops and southeast of Prince George. So it's sort of middle of the province-ish. A little bit further south than the middle. Now, Mike Easton, the lead detective, he decided that it was going to be really important to get the media involved with this case to help them solve it. So they were very open with the media about getting attention, and they in fact were at some point soliciting media attention to try and get this case out there, because he's a detective who's of the opinion that the public solves cases.
So we're looking to get the public involved. We're telling them these are the events that happened.
Exactly. This is what we're looking for.
If you know anything, please let us know.
Well, it's because, you see, they found the car of the Johnsons, but the Bentleys, who were the grandparents, they had a truck with a camper that has not been found yet.
So they need to get, crowdsourcing information.
Yeah, because also, I mean, like, say the grandparents did it and then they drove off in their camper, you'd find them. Or if someone else did it, then the camper's gonna help them figure out who it was. Now, that also leads us to what happened. So the coroner eventually gets to the scene of the crime. Yeah. And they look around and they're like, yeah, no, we don't have the remains of 4 bodies. We've got the remains of more than that. We've got the remains of 6 bodies. So the whole family was in that burned out car.
Oh, and then the truck's stolen.
Yeah, the truck with the camper, which also has a boat on top, is stolen. So now they eventually get a report from a park ranger that he had seen the grandparents' camper at a campsite at Bear Creek. So we've got this really big park where the car was found is one spot, and this Bear Creek campsite is another spot. They're kind of, they're a fair distance from each other.
Okay.
Yeah. So then the detectives go to this site, and they find 6 .22 caliber shells at the campsite.
Okay, so they found the murder spot.
Yeah, basically. Because they also found bottle caps from Bob's favorite beer. Yeah. So they were like, okay.
Hold on, Bob.
Bob Johnson.
Bob Johnson.
The dad. Yeah. So they found the murder site, but they still don't have the camper.
Crap.
Yeah. Now, after this point, they've been working with the media to get some publicity going. People across the country are sort of starting to learn about it. And they receive random reports from people across the country that this camper and truck are traveling across the country.
How far does it go?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Now, a waitress in Clearwater also contacts them around this time, and she says that she saw 2 men with French-Canadian accents driving that truck and camper a few months back, so around the time of when the murders would have happened and stuff, which leads these investigators to believe that they must be, driving home to Quebec or something. They're taking the vehicle with them. So this is where they do something fairly creative. Yeah.
RCMP.
Yeah, so the RCMP, these detectives, they found the exact same model of truck and the same model of camper and a really similar boat. And they assembled all that together. And then they put signs on either side that said, if you've seen this truck and camper before, then please call your local police. Yeah. And then they proceeded to drive it across Canada. Following the route that they believed the perpetrators were taking based on the reports they'd received.
Okay, so now we know where the money's going.
Yep. And also, with each stop that they were doing, before they got there, they were doing media coverage in the major cities. So they'd go ahead of the truck, basically to let people know it was coming through, so people would come and try to see it, and then be like, have I seen that? Yeah, I totally have seen that.
That's getting to be pretty big publicity stunt.
Yeah. So at the time, this was, if not one of the biggest mass murders in Canadian history. Yeah. So, an entire 3 generations of a family wiped out
from one camping trip.
Yep. So when they were on this journey, they eventually talk to this mechanic type dude who gives them a lead, says that he met these two guys, that they took the camper off of the truck and they were getting him to paint it, and then they wanted to know where they could get rid of this gun, and he was all like, well, I've had trouble with the law in the past. I don't want to get involved with this. You could get rid of the gun in Detroit, probably.
Okay, so we got some shadiness.
Yeah. And, of course, this opens up a whole new can of worms, because if they went to Detroit, that means that...
they have to get involved with the U.S. Authorities.
And they're supposed to get all this permission and everything.
Oh, no.
Now, Mike Eastham, he was like, fuck that, I'm just gonna go to Detroit and talk to the police there and get them on our side right away. Luckily, before he ever, left Canada or anything like that, he got another call.
Okay.
And it was on October 18th of 1983 that he received this call. So it's been a full year of investigating already.
Christ.
Yep.
Investigating, buying cars, driving them through the country.
Yep. So this call told them that they had found the camper.
Was it painted?
No, it was in the original park.
Oh, God.
Where, back in BC, near Clearwater. And
I can imagine that scene on, True Detective, dun dun dun.
Yeah, and so the camper was parked on top of Trophy Mountain, which was in the same park, but it's, again, a distance away from the other two sites. If you put them on a map, it makes a triangle, basically, of these different sites.
Do they know if it was, moved there after the fact, or if it was always there?
No, it was moved there because the cases were at Bear Creek.
Yeah.
So that's where the shooting had happened, and that was also where the camper had been parked, because that's where the family was camping, because they liked secluded campsites.
Secluded campsites, don't do it.
Except they're so pretty.
Yeah, but you can get murdered.
You can get murdered in your own house.
Fair enough.
You can't live your life in fear. So the camper was on Trophy Mountain, and it had gotten stuck on some logs on its way to going into a gorge.
So they were trying to ditch it.
Yeah.
Because it's the most publicized
yeah.
mass murder all across Canada. These guys.
Everyone knows what this camper and truck look like.
Yeah.
Even if you just had the truck without the camper, people would still be reporting it.
Yeah. So they're spooked.
Yeah.
They're on the run.
Yeah.
So what happens next?
So because they, whoever did this knew about this gorge on top of the mountain, they knew the area, so they figured that it has to be a local, since they seem to know the area pretty well. So that's when they start doing, door-to-door knocking, talking to all the locals, really getting a lot of information from them.
Clearwater.
Yeah. It's not a big town, though.
How big?
I looked on the map. It's got 2 hotels.
Well, that's...
Looked like it had,
enough.
10 streets.
All right.
So, very small town. But while they were doing all this door knocking, talking to people, one of the young detectives knocked on a door, and this guy answered. His girlfriend or wife comes up behind him as the detective's starting to talk to him, and they mentioned that they knew about there being a bullet hole in the camper that they'd found on Trophy Mountain. So they had talked about finding the camper on Trophy Mountain. That part the public all knew, but they were very deliberate to not mention that there was a bullet hole in the door of it.
So that the killer would slip up and...
Yeah, or that anyone who mentions that isn't just making shit up. That's more so what it was, is to be like, okay, if people mention this detail, they actually know something. So they mentioned that they had heard about this from a guy named David. So the detectives then followed up, and, they found out from them that the man's name was David Shearing, and he was a logger with a thing for young girls.
Oh, no.
And he happened to live right in the middle of the 3 crime scenes.
Oh, children.
Yeah.
Did you see a picture of this guy? Does he look creepy?
Yeah. I mean, I watched a true crime show, so of course I picture the actor reenacting him more, who does not look like him.
Anything like him.
But, the actor has a big beard. The actual person just had a mustache. But they're both creepy looking in different ways. And, yeah, so he lived at a house, right in the middle of the triangle formed by the 3 crime scenes.
Okay, but that's coincidence.
That is coincidence. but some other things. He also had a criminal record.
Yeah.
And when they were looking to find him, to talk to him, he was actually, at that time, he was supposed to be in court in Tumbler Ridge on stolen property charges. So the investigators found him there, and they started talking to him. And Mike Eastham, he, was getting the guy comfortable in their conversation and everything. And during that interrogation, he admitted, before we even got to anything to do with these we found the bodies, so these murdered people.
Yeah.
This guy admits to having committed a hit and run. Yeah, he hit a guy and then just drove off.
He admitted this to the police in the interrogation?
Yes. So that was a red flag in the detective's head, and he was like, well, definitely gonna see if I can get any more information out of this guy, because that is not a good sign.
So he's just a whirlwind of crime.
Yeah, and apparently he came from a good family. So his dad was a prison guard, and his brother had some respectable job, and his family were all good people, and then there was him.
People aren't good or bad.
No.
Actions are good or bad.
Okay, well then
people are fluid.
None of his family members committed crimes. And so then our wonderful detective brought up the murder site and talking about the case, finding the casings there and stuff. And so David Shearing at that point mentioned how he didn't like Bear Creek.
No.
The public didn't know that the murder site was Bear Creek.
So he incriminated himself?
Yep.
Oh, nuts.
Yep, and the detective in the interview that I saw, he's and at that moment I could see in his eyes, oh crap, I shouldn't have said that.
I'm just imagining this detective as Will Graham.
I mean, the actor that played him in the reenactments, he was a hot dad, kinda. Older than Will Graham. But, think pretty much older Will Graham.
All right. Well, how old was he during this time?
I think he was, he wasn't too far away from retirement at that time. But yeah, so he was, less than 10 years away from retirement.
Okay, so he's old.
And, well...
Old Will Graham.
Yeah, he's experienced. He's done a lot of murder cases.
More like Jack Crawford.
Yeah. So, after some more pressing in the interrogation, Shearing then confesses to killing the whole family because he just wanted to have their stuff.
But then he ditched all their stuff.
Yeah. He claimed, I just wanted, the car and the camper and the boat and some tools. I took the boat and the tools, but then when there was all the news about the camper, I knew I had to get rid of the camper.
Doesn't sound like a smart man.
We'll get to this. So, he was officially arrested on November 19th, 1983.
Yeah.
Because he pled guilty. There wasn't a super long trial or anything. He was convicted.
Yeah.
And he received the most intense sentence for second-degree murder in Canada. So he got 6 concurrent life sentences.
Oh.
And
25
years without the possibility of parole.
Okay.
And now...
So wait,
yeah.
6 life sentences, but up to just 25 years?
Yeah, 25 years is when you become eligible for parole.
Yeah.
But then, you have to have parole hearings and everything, and you can get denied. You can get denied even your application to get a parole hearing.
Okay, but already he's just going to be in prison for 6 times over.
That's what the sentence is, but after 25 years he can apply for parole.
Okay.
But it's if basically he can only get out if he gets parole because of the 6 concurrent life sentences.
Yeah, he can't be released normally.
Yeah, because he would never complete his sentence.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lesson in the justice system of Canada.
I might be getting that all wrong, though. I'm not a lawyer. But Mike Eastham, detective of the RCMP, he didn't believe this guy's motive. It just seemed really weak.
Yeah.
So after the conviction happened, he pressed him further because he was like, listen, bud, just tell me. It's not going to change. Your sentencing has already happened. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah, why'd you kill these people?
Just tell me. So he does tell him. And it turned out that he killed the parents, killed the grandparents, and then he sexually abused the little girls for either 9 or 10 days before killing them.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that was his real motive.
So he didn't get parole, right?
Well, he became eligible for parole in 2012, and so far all of his applications have been denied. And Mike Easton, the lead detective, says that he is going to do his best to always be involved in every parole hearing for this guy to make sure he never gets out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
And that is...
that is the most famous or most expensive murder in Canada.
Most expensive investigation in Canada up until 1983 when it happened.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's pretty creepy.
Yeah. BC murderers, middle of the back end town campsites.
Yep. Yeah, it was nice. So I had two sources for this.
Yeah.
My main one is actually a TV show on CBC.
What's it called?
It's called The Detectives.
Oh.
And every episode, I guess, is a different investigation. And what it is it's a combination of interviews with the actual detective and dramatizations, but like with high production value and like recognizable actors.
I've worked on a show like that before.
Yeah?
Only like really low production
so
value.
The opposite. So yeah.
The other end of the thing. But it was
something like Untold Stories of the ER.
It was called Murder She Solved.
Oh.
And it was just like true crime stories that were solved by women.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was kind of fun because it was like a 4-person crew going out and doing these reenactments, and all the reenactments were like out of focus and to the side, and then they'd have the interviews that they did earlier on.
Yeah. Well, I felt like the reenactments in this were definitely... I felt like they were respectful of the victims and stuff. They didn't show the actual... Like, there's no blood or anything.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't show the people actually fall down and die.
It's hard to decide how far you should go with true crime.
Well, I think also because their focus is more on the investigation than the crime.
Yeah.
I think that also helps. My other source was Murderpedia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Learn all about them murders.
I love Murderpedia.
Yeah, what's this? I think this was my first... No, I've looked at it before to do with something else, but...
This is your first time doing a murder.
Yeah, this is my first creepy BC murder.
More to come, I hope.
Yeah, well, especially with that book my mom gave us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So on the weekend...
We premiered our...
No, they weren't premieres.
Okay.
They weren't premieres.
We screened...
It was a private screening.
To our friends and crew.
And cast.
Our Bad Cookie combo.
Yeah! As well as other films that we'd worked on in the past year.
Time Heals No Wounds and Parlor Tricks and Tune In for Murder and Relaxing Rituals ASMR.
Yep, and then our cast and crew finally got to see Nepenthes and The Devil and I.
Mm-hmm.
As well as some other fun stuff we threw in there for them.
I love those bits.
Those were fun. We just need to have a little mix session to get the levels proper. And then we'll be able to make those DVDs.
So, coming at you soon.
Yeah.
More Bad Cookies stuff.
Yeah. Well, another thing that was really cool is that the same day that we were having our screening, Nepenthes it did premiere.
Yeah.
But in Portland.
In Portland. The Portland...
Horror Film Festival.
Nice.
Yeah, which I wasn't expecting to get into that, so that was cool. But yeah, so that was like a big screening. We filled up the venue. We used all the chairs that there were, and so people had to stand to watch the films. We
couldn't keep the headset like long enough so that everybody could see both VR films. Yeah. It was busier than we expected, for sure.
So much busier. And so my parents came over from Victoria for it, and my mom brought us a couple of books.
Yeah. So I've got one that's like creepy campfires.
Nope, that's the one I've got.
Oh, I've got like murders in...
Yeah.
Murders, Western Canada murders.
I think yours is specifically BC.
Mine might be BC. I should read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking through the one that I got to see if there was a good topic for today. I got the one that is ghost campfire stories from Western Canada. Yeah. So a lot of ones that are applicable to us, like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta. But there's a few that that we'll probably be able to use.
And I'm really excited to delve into this book.
So many murders.
I know. It's my episode next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we do 2 murders in a row?
Probably not. I think I gotta get out of Vancouver.
Yeah.
So, next week, looking forward to telling you guys something in BC outside of Vancouver.
Be better than me. Don't pick your topic day of.
No, although I've made up my sheets like day of. I usually research beforehand and then compile all my information.
I totally just do the compiling as I'm researching.
I mean, that's...
I also just like watching documentaries.
But I just really like having an idea of everything and then revisiting it with a mind to nitpick all the information.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is the second time that I've just found a documentary and watched it and paused it, written down notes, get going again.
So that was a brief insight into our process.
Yes.
Creative process.
Research process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because writing a script is totally different than that.
Totally.
Yeah. Do we have anything else coming up that's exciting? Your birthday's coming up soon.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
By the
old.
time this airs, I'm going to be 29.
Yeah.
Basically 30.
Pretty much. You just round up.
Yep. So send me, birthday messages. Hashtag bad cookie pictures and let us know you're listening.
Send him depressing birthday memes about getting old.
Yeah, basically
Look, we want to induce an existential crisis, basically.
I'm already having an existential crisis since coming back from Mexico. I don't need another one on top of that.
I still just remember how bad it was. I think it was my 25th birthday. No, 24th birthday. There was crying.
24 is an excellent age.
I know! I didn't feel... I was like, I'm so old and I haven't done anything. It's like, no, young Ariel, you're doing fine. Fine.
But 30, I'm going to start losing all of my, abilities to get the youth visas. And I'm going to lose my hair. I'm going to start to go gray.
I know that at least Australia youth visas are, into your 30s.
Yeah, well, a lot of them end at 30. Then there's some that are 31. And then there's, the absolute latest ones that are, 35.
Yeah.
Until you're, getting married or have, real jobs abroad. Nightmares. Nightmares.
Yeah. But yeah, so be sure to check us out on the social medias.
We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon. We have our own website.
We're on YouTube, Vimeo.
Yeah, we got a Gmail.
Yeah, Bad Cookie Pictures for all those things. If you've got suggestions for topics, please email us at badcookiepictures@gmail.com. And if you want to find, specific to each of us kind of stuff on the social medias, I'm on everything as @Hanson's Horror.
And I'm on everything as Sneezing Wolf. So you can find me...
Don't bother with his Twitter. It's boring.
It's nothing. We don't need to say that every episode.
Very true. We should probably just stop mentioning that you even have it.
Yeah.
We'll just say that you're on Instagram from now on.
I'm on Instagram. It's kind of fun. I do a lot of stuff.
You do a lot of stuff. You travel a lot.
Yeah. I love to travel.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing.
I ain't got no money to travel.
You don't need money. You just need to get rid of your attachment to things and places.
Cricket. Chirp, 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 chirp.
Okay. So that was another episode of BC is Creepy.
Yeah. Enjoy whatever you're up to today, and be sure to stay creepy.